Hello, Shemai Croeso, and welcome to the Fathers of Metal podcast with myself, Daddy Hugh.
And myself, Bappa Ben, once again here doing
In your kitchen?
another reaction.
I'm in my kitchen. Where are
You're
you?
in your kitchen. I'm in my man cave.
Your man cave.
And we're once again doing another reaction. This one completely kind of come out the blue and potentially almost what came under our radar. So this is a bit of another ad hoc reaction and discussion, I suppose. But it's nice seeing you all again anyway.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. So just as a reminder to those tuning in now, we are METALIDADS. We're based all over Wales and the UK and slowly reaching other parts of the UK as well. We're a community of fathers who act as a paternal and well-being support network for each other and discuss all things metal through diplomatic means and absolutely ridiculous metal memes. So please follow our YouTube channel if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you would like to join a small army of fathers, then please find us on Facebook by visiting www.facebook.com/groups/METALIDADS. So the only criteria you need to join the community itself is that you are a dad and that you are a follower of one of the many genres of metal music. However, all are welcome to enjoy the podcast and subscribe to our YouTube channel. But we've of course got a couple of community pages. Ben, which are those?
We do. So we have an actual Facebook community page, which you can find at facebook.com/METALIDADS. We also have a Twitter, which is twitter.com/METALIDADS. Yeah, that's all of them. All the links will be in the description. Yeah, that we share plenty of metal content, and as we go, obviously trying to just share as much content as we can, produce as much content as we can for both the group and the community pages. And we just want to get discussions going, both metal discussions and parenting, fathering discussions. So yeah, so
bringing the metal and dads together naturally.
Yes.
Here at METALIDADS. So let's get started. So Ben, tonight is, again, you said it, tonight is another reaction to a single release, which we've already done this week, to the new Cannibal Corpse single for the upcoming release on the 16th of April of 2021. So Ben, tell us what and whom are we listening to tonight?
Okay, so tonight we are listening to the brand new single from a band called Evile. Their single is called Hell Unleashed, and it is in support of the album, which is also called Hell Unleashed, which is due out at the end of April. So Evile, for anyone who doesn't know, Evile are a British thrash metal band. They first appeared in 2007 with their debut album, and then after, I think 2013 was their last album, and since then they haven't been seen. They've basically broke up for once and better word. They essentially broke up, and then sometime last year there was kind of stirrings of one of the original guitarists kind of getting a lineup back together. I believe he's the only original member.
Okay.
Ollie Davis, I think his name is. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong,
and he's the singer as well, isn't he?
I think he does backing.
Backing. Okay.
He does backing and guitar.
Cool.
So yeah, so there was he done an interview last year, basically just saying he's got a group together to release a new album under the name of Evile, another thrash album. And kind of that was about the middle of last year. Didn't really hear much of it, and again, just so happens I just happened to see something pop up on my phone saying something about a new single. Click on it and find out that Evile have got an album coming out, as I say, 30th of April, right at the end of April. And yesterday they released a single in support of it. The single is called Hell Unleashed, as I said, and the album will also be called the same thing. Yeah, I mean, Evile might not be the first thrash band that comes to mind when you think of thrash, but in some way they were very, very important for that particular genre, because when they released their album Enter the Grave, their debut album in 2007, honestly back then nobody was talking about thrash. New metal had really, well, I mean, even by 2007 new metal had come and gone. and yeah, we were just like metal, it was very metalcore, deathcore was starting to become a thing.
And the whole new wave of American metal was still quite a big
Yes.
thing as well, like
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Trivium, bands like that.
Mastodon,
Mastodon,
Kill
of course.
Switch.
Yeah.
There was loads. So yeah, for apart from the old school guys, the guys from the 80s continuing on releasing thrash albums, there was no new thrash in the scene. And Evile kind of come out of nowhere and said, hey, we're a band, we're a thrash band, and we're going to release an album. And at first people kind of laughed at them, kind of didn't believe it would go anywhere, because everyone thought, thrash it's old now, it's old news. But they released the album, and it kind of, I mean, I don't think one band can make the whole difference, but they ended up they released that album, and I mean it's a cracking album. It's an absolute cracking album.
It's not a secret, but you and me really like that album, don't we?
Yeah.
Enter the
hugely.
Grave.
It's an excellent thrash album, and not just as a modern. I mean, like, it holds up against anything that came out in the 80s and the 90s easily. Yeah, anyway, so that released, and obviously, as we said, it was a cracking album, and a lot of other people thought that way. And then all of a sudden, there was a new interest in thrash, and then we started getting. I mean, all of a sudden, there was a British thrash scene, which up until, I mean, the last time I think the UK tried producing any form of thrash was any serious like competitor to the Americans and the Germans especially, was probably Onslaught. But they came to, they kind of, I don't want to say a flash in the pan, but they were late 80s, and they were pretty much dissolved by 91, I think. And then from 91 onwards, there hasn't really, I mean, I'm not going to deny there must have been bands, but nothing that had broken through. And then all of a sudden Evile come out of nowhere and go, we'll give it a go. And they did, and they definitely helped produce that kind of that wave. And it's been great. It's been great. So yeah, they've got a lot to they've got a lot of pedigree.
Cool.
Already.
So would you say you could potentially suggest that maybe at the beginning they were quite maybe humble and think, we're doing our thing.
Yeah.
And then maybe potentially 13, 14 years later, they're coming out with crazy statements about how much they're backing their product. Please tell our listeners what I'm talking about.
Okay, so reading the spiel about the new album, the actual website's consequenceofsound.net, but it came this is kind of news that was all over the place. Anyway, while speaking to let's have a look. Yes, there we go. So while in an interview, the guitarist Ollie Drake, not Ollie Davis, sorry, Ollie Drake.
Okay.
He said after a long 8 years, Evile are finally coming back. And then he said, I have no qualms in saying that this is talking about the upcoming album. This is the best thrash metal album in at least the last 20 years. That's that is, and he said at least 20 years. I mean,
he's been listening to too much Manowar and black metal. He's
that is a bold statement to make.
Absolutely.
Especially, I'm not, don't want to, no spoilers or anything, but especially, yeah, okay, we'll get to it.
Let's give them the benefit of the doubt and let's have a look.
Yes.
But it's funny. It's funny to think they can reproduce anything that's better than the debut album.
Just as a little potential little spoiler, because at some point we'll probably, during one of our rocker specters, we'll end up doing this.
Yes.
Let's say 2007, definitely. Enter the Grave was great. I've had to listen to the second album that came out after, and it doesn't even, I mean, personal opinion, doesn't even come close. It's not even close to Enter the Grave. I got to be honest, it was lacking in my opinion, but that is something that we'll elaborate on a rock perspective or a game changer, or there's definitely something there. But yeah, so I'm I'm looking forward, especially after those kind of claims. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what this album's all about.
So just before maybe, Ben, we move on to just our analysis of the single, just anyone listening for the first time, if this is your first episode of the Fathers of Metal podcast, you've heard Ben mention the word Rockospective. So Rockospective is a podcast, as a series we do within the Fathers of Metal podcast, where we go back to a certain year in metal music and we basically review as many albums as we can, and we sort of give a joint top 5, maybe more the higher profile albums, and then a separate personal top 5, maybe the ones that weren't included in the original more popular top 5. And then Game Changers will be a series we'll be doing where we're going into depth on how one single album was incredibly influential, maybe Black Sabbath's first album, or Korn, for example. So we'll be going a lot more into depth there, but probably Evile will definitely come up on the rock perspective, or potentially the Game Changer, again, depend in the respect of how much this changed the thrash scene again. But how about we get right to it then, Ben? So I'm happy you maybe just you starting with, I've got some notes written in front of me here, but what's how many times have you listened to it since yesterday? About 5 or 6 times. I'm probably about around the five song mark, probably 5 times.
I've probably heard it about 10 times now.
Okay, fair play.
So I've played it, and okay, so I don't want this to come across too negative, but it's probably going to come across as negative, and I listened to it 10 times because I wanted to like it, and every time I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I was, when I saw that bit of news yesterday, I was like, holy shit, like this is, I was absolutely buzzing. If you ask my wife, I was buzzing, I was bouncing off the chair. I was like, oh, we got to go and do this right now. And I listened to the song, and well, okay, let's break this down. So it's got quite okay, so the opening to the song is kind of, it's more of an atmospheric kind of setting. It's not instrumental at all. How would you describe that opening? It's kind of,
it's just like a it's an ambient, it's ambient with dissonance in the ambient, some sort of industrial sounds. I suppose about 20 seconds long, 15 seconds long, or something like that. It just to put you in the place, basically, and the atmosphere type of thing. So
it's quite an unsettling kind of sounds, aren't they?
I've put uneasy, unsettling. You got this almost like droney sound, this like metallic, drilly type of sound. It really does make you think, ooh. It does what it needs to do for the start of a thrash track to introduce the opening riff. I definitely think so.
And I guess in some way, with the actual song being called Hell Unleashed as well, it makes sense to have that kind of opening. So very atmospheric opening. Definitely sets the tone, and it sets the tone well. And then out of nowhere, it kind of this almighty thrash opening kicks in, and it's fast, it's aggressive, and it punches you straight in the gut. And I mean, it hooks you straight away. It really, after that atmospheric opening, it hits you, and you're like, oh, okay, this is, you're kind of fixated on it as soon as it hits in. And I mean, it's classic. There's no frills. It's not trying to be vegetarian progressive grindcore. Do you know what I mean? It's not. It's thrash.
It's proper thrash. Yeah,
it's proper, unadulterated. It kicks you in the gut from the word go, and it's a very, very powerful, very strong opening, fast, and that's great. But from that point onwards, it kind of it. So this is a song for me that in the first, so apart from that 20-second opening, you've then got your however many bars, however many seconds worth of that opening riff you've got. It literally spills its hand all over the table. That's the way it gets for me. So when I first heard this song, it, again, bang, straight, first time hearing it hits you, and you're like, oh, I can't wait to hear what the rest of this is.
Yeah.
But the song is, for me, it showed his hand in the first few seconds. So that guitar riff is very, very good. I love it. It's great opening.
It is cracking.
But it's literally shown you everything this is going to be for the whole 3.5 minutes, 4.5 minutes, whatever it is.
Well, for those who've seen the musical The Lion King, the opening scene is epic, and then it's crap because you've basically seen the amazing song, and then it's hit the peak, and then it doesn't go near it again. So I think that's probably a weird comparison, but that sticks in my mind.
Yeah, and honestly, so the rest of the song, like vocals kick in, and I'll let Hugh talk about vocals more, because he's
that's very kind of you.
Apart from the fact that you're a singing teacher, you've got more kind of perspective on that. But yeah, I mean, they kick in, and I enjoy the vocals. You know, they're kind of aggressive, they're growly, they're aggressive, they do exactly what you need them to do. But it becomes forgettable very quickly. Again, it's literally it's shown you its hand and then spilt it all over the table right in front of you, and yeah, like I'll probably let Hugh talk now, because like otherwise I'll just end up becoming like everything I'll have to say just will sound more and more negative. So
so you be bad cop, I'll be good cop, is it?
But it had a good opening.
No, that's a good opening. That's good going for it. I completely agree with you in regards to the opening riff. And one thing I've just written down here, it's the speed of the alternate picking is really fast. It's
that is the thing with the whole song. It's so accurate.
Yes.
I mean, there's not a. I mean, I know this is a recorded thing, so they could go over it over and over again to make sure it's perfect. But I mean, it's as tight as a drum. The PG version of that.
Yeah.
Unbelievably tight musicianship has created this song.
Yeah.
And that I will not take away from them. It's very, very talented people have created this song.
Absolutely. Like the guitar, as in the speed of the alternate picking, actually almost has like a drill effect to it. It's actually it's faster than, say, Slayer at their fastest. It's another notch. Again, there's actually quite a lot of Slayer vibes all around this song. Vocally speaking, and
it's funny
how
you
they
say
approach
that.
the opening song.
It's funny you say that, because the aim of this song / album is they wanted to sound evil and vile. Evile, funnily enough.
Evile.
But yeah, evil and vile were two words in the interviews they've used to describe this album, what they wanted to sound like. So Slayer would probably make sense to that.
Absolutely. No, correct. In regards to vocals, I suppose, again, I know my way around the bass and the electric guitar as well, but mainly the vocals. I wasn't like against them at all, but I agree with you in regards of energy. It does seem to dip, and as you said, you reckon it became very forgetful very quickly. Something I noticed actually on, say, the third or fourth listen. Again, I probably need to hear more Evile albums to see if this is a thing or not. But I felt the vocals were pretty quiet in the mix. I was slightly underwhelmed by the presence of the vocals, especially when it's a thing in rock music, not just metal or thrash, but to chant the name of the song as the chorus line. It's just that's a thing in most pop music, to be honest, but especially in thrash, like Creator's pleasure to kill. It's so you say it right at the arse end of the chorus type of thing, as the guy does in this song. I just felt really I was expecting the word hell unleashed to be like almost like a thunderous sound coming into my headphones, but I was quite underwhelmed by it in regards to the volume of the impact it had on me. So that's one thing I got as a negative. So I don't know if that was just the mix in this song or album, or if that is normally their sort of mix in the rest of their album. So I need to listen to more of them. I
think that's a stylistic thing in the band. I mean, I think, obviously, listening to Enter the Grave quite a few times now, and I've listened to their second album, the vocals in those aren't quite as far in.
Okay.
but they're definitely not like out here. They're further out than what they are in this song, but not like way out there. If you
Okay, I see.
catch my drift, yeah.
Now, cool. Thanks for that. Yeah, I'd be quite interested to hear more than just say the first album. But just sticking on vocals, one thing again, I'm not trying to be negative at all. I do. It's a great thrash song. You know, it's a song. It's a good thrash song.
Yes.
It's not the worst. It's not the best I've ever heard.
Mm.
But one thing I noticed, listening to it just before we started the this episode tonight, it sounded like he was shouting a shopping list. He was in the kitchen. No, he was upstairs and his wife's in the kitchen. He's shouting just like random things, like pears, bananas, sultanas. There was basically no rhythmic variation at all in the vocals, and even it was just like he was going rah 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 rah, hell unleashed, and then it's that I think to me contributed to how it became very forgetful. Was the rhythmic, the lack of rhythmic variation in the vocals. So that
as
for
well
me,
as the rest of the song, to be honest.
Yeah, so that's the only way I could describe it, is literally shouting. He's trying to sort the shopping out with his wife before they go to Aldi, because they are a British band. They obviously go to a German shop called Aldi or Lidl. But yeah, so that I think that's the only really negative I have, is again because I tend to focus a lot on vocals more than other stuff, even though I've got a great appreciation for everything else that's going on. I really did like the tempo change. It wasn't completely like a Pantera type of groove. It was still upbeat enough, but I think it was tastefully done, and it was a nice something interesting to listen to after potentially 30 seconds, 40 seconds worth of this is a bit, it's all right, it's nothing crazy. So it was quite a welcome change, I think so. It didn't come halfway through. It was about, I don't know, maybe 35 to 40% of the way through the song, something like that. So I like that. That was a nice, again, directional change, I think. So what do you think, Ben, about the middle bit?
I was going to say that. So going into that middle bit, there was, as you said, there was a tempo change, but for me, I always, this is, everything I'm saying is purely personal preference. But when I'm listening to a song, I always look for a payoff of some sort in the song, whether that be, and it could be anything. I mean, there's some songs that I will listen to a whole song to hear like one thing that happens in one bar in the song, because stylistically it just brings the whole song together. Like I will pick out those tiny, even if it's just like, I can't off the top of my head, there's a Parkway Drive song that does it, and literally it's just like, it's a good song anyway. It's a fine song. There's nothing special about that particular song, but kind of towards the end, like there's kind of more of a big build up, and then as the breakdown comes, their vocalist just does this like type of, that real kind of but he does it so well and with so much passion, and it just hits you, and it's that moment, it just hits you, and it rounds. So it takes a song that's good, nothing special, good,
and then takes it up,
and it puts the cherry on the top. It just makes it just puts a few sprinkles on it, just that one thing, and the song kind of solidifies as a result of it. To me, that's the way I look at things anyway. So yeah, as we're saying, there was a tempo change, but it kind of it was, and I say it was appreciated, because it would have been way too much, but again, it wasn't enough for me to be classed as a payoff. It was the equivalent of, I'm getting real abstract with this analogy now, but it's
I've done a Lion King reference. Crack on, man.
It kind of, again, I'm just going to put it out there. I don't really have much good to say for the rest of this chat. So, if anyone's going to get bored of me being negative about it, please, maybe this isn't the video.
I'll finish on a high then, Ben.
Yeah.
I think the lead guitar work in the song is cracking. It's the tone is great. I think the lead is tasty. It might be a bit too much of it, potentially, because but again, it offered a variation to what we were listening to. It wasn't quite all over the place Slayer solo. It was a bit
No.
more crafted. It was a bit more worked out up and down
Yeah.
the sort of the fretboard type of thing. It was a bit more theoretically correct with the dissonant notes, etc.
Mm.
But I really liked the lead guitar bits.
Mm.
Again, it was to offer something just something different to listen to, and a
Yeah.
different sort of section to the song, and a different sound to what you were listening to.
And that's the thing. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad song, because it's not. It's a fine song. The best way I can describe this is the weirdest sounding. It's such a weird song to be a single, because it's
Yeah.
a single needs to be, it doesn't necessarily have to be the best song on the album, but it needs to be a song that kind of hooks you. You know, it's got to have something. And I just feel like this particular song doesn't have that something. This feels like a song that you would fill the album out with, like an escape from Ride the Lightning. It feels.
Oh, right. Okay. Ooh, that's controversial. Maybe. Even though, for the record, I do like the song Escape, because it does what it needs to.
It does what, yeah, it does.
Where it's slotted in the album before Creeping Death. But yeah.
But it literally was designed to be a filler. Like it,
exactly.
it's noticeable. And I just get that kind of, oh, okay.
Interesting.
Like, and as I said, I kind of just feel, as I said, I look for payoffs in songs. I wait for certain payoffs. It can be small, it can be big, it doesn't matter. And the analogy that I can use for this is, it's like watching kind of a magician who's like kind of builds up. He kind of spends too long building a trick up, and you know, and then it gets to the point where you're like, all right, just do the trick now. Like it's like when he starts doing the trick, you're like, okay, I'm interested in this. And then he starts going on a bit longer, and you're like, okay, something big is coming. And then he kind of goes over the threshold of overdoing it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, I just want you to finish this now.
Yeah.
And then he does it, and then you're like, oh, okay. Like,
it's like watching a serial killer like film. You thought, oh, I knew it was that bloke all along.
It's just
no surprise.
And that's it. I am desperately trying to not sound so negative, but
no, I understand.
I was very, very underwhelmed, and I think I think I've tried to put it down to the fact that, I mean, funny enough, me and you met for a socially distanced coffee in a car park.
2 meters apart.
Yes. And doors in the way and everything.
Yeah.
And you said it yourself, and I totally agree. We're in the weird situation where we actually preferred Cannibal Corpse's single, a death metal, you know, because both myself and Hugh, I'd say we're both, thrash is our thing.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
You know, if I had to choose a genre to represent what I'm all about, it's thrash. Like, I love thrash.
Snap.
And so, but we were so blown away, and this is where I'm trying to justify. We were so blown away by Cannibal Corpse's single literally the day before.
Yeah.
This just didn't have the chops to keep up with it. If we hadn't heard that song, maybe I would have had more of it. Oh yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah,
that was cool and aggressive. But again, you know, going back to, you know, this isn't about the Cannibal Corpse song, but listening to that, which ironically we have actually thinking about, we have done a reaction to it. There is a video. I will link it at the end of this video so you can bump.
Cool, thank you, Ben.
But again, I think it comes down to composition. I said this too in our socially distanced coffee. I just feel like there was just, you can have too much of a good thing. I love thrash. I love super fast, super aggressive, super, you know, super precise picking. I love all that. Everything that Evile's song Hell Unleashed does is good. There's too much of it. There's just too much of it. And I guess if that's what you're into, if you just want to put something on and have it super fast, super aggressive, and you know, there's a tempo change, but it doesn't really let off the gas.
No, it's almost like you want to completely slow it down. I'm trying to think of an example. Like one of my favorite thrash songs is "Enemy of God" by Creator.
It's a very, very good song.
And they completely cut, I think, the tempo by half, I think so, in that song. Or even Ditto Head by Slayer from the Divine Intervention album. It's really super fast. Then so it needs to be such a change where it keeps your attention, because I think this example of this song, Hell Unleashed, it's going really, really quick, and it only slows down a little bit. So almost like then it becomes an underwhelmment in itself of the tempo.
Yeah.
So it either needs to be even faster or completely slow, not just slightly underneath. So I think that I see what you mean in that regard. So it was just as you said, you take your foot off the gas a little bit, and it's sort of but again, interesting about you saying that you and I are thrash heads normally. Maybe we didn't enjoy the song as much because we're so familiar with the nuances of thrash, and not so much with death metal, because we're new to death metal. We like that because it was fresher on our ears potentially.
Potentially.
So maybe it's got that, so maybe it's matter of expectations and what we're used to and what we got more knowledge on, I suppose. But that's why it makes this fun, really. It's sort of to see what everyone is up to.
And again, on what you've just said, again, we've both heard Evile's first album, and that is a really good. I mean, I can't understate how good that album is. It's one of the best thrash albums of all time.
It's definitely one of the best top 20 debut thrash albums,
definitely,
ever. You and I are obviously a big
top 20.
Yeah, you and I are a big fan of an album we discovered recently. Well, sorry, two albums we've discovered recently in the thrash genre is Metal Church's debut album from 1984 and Flotsam and Jetsam's Doomsday to the Deceiver album 1987. I definitely rate this one up with, again, the lesser known thrash bands who've given cracking debut albums. Definitely.
Hugely.
So
and that's the thing is, again, Evile's first album, it's so good. So there's the bar, and in some way maybe that's a bit unfair to compare what they're doing now, because it's a new band minus apart from one guy. I believe the whole band is different. It's a new vocalist, it's new everything. So they're using the name, but they're not that Evile. They are another Evile, I suppose.
I suppose we probably should potentially cut them a bit of slack for the fact that it is a new setup. Maybe they need more time to gel. Fair enough. Like the other day, they're out there living the dream, and I'm sitting here with a little Miss Bridesmaid mug, drinking my coffee. So they're living the dream. So I shouldn't be too harsh on them, really. But we're here to chat, just as fans of the genre and fans of metal in general. But
I won't stop listening to it, because I'm determined to like it.
Hey, dude, the bar, you're talking about the bar's been set. This is the best thrash album of the past 21 years, coming out on the 30th of April. So how can you not be excited to listen to the greatest thrash album of the past 21 years?
And there is a reaction to that album coming out. There will be a discussion on that.
April will be a very exciting month.
Yeah, we got two, both Cannibal Corpse and Evile, obviously, and potentially some others. We'll find out as we go. But
hopefully, System of a Down this year. That would be awesome. If hopefully,
that'd be incredible.
Check it out there.
But I won't stop listening to this song, because I'm determined to like it. I'm determined. The more I hear it, I'm just hoping that I can, because it's just, because it hits you in the face and it doesn't let off. It's hard to pick up on things. You've got to listen to it. For me, I got to listen to it over and over and over again until eventually, all of a sudden, you get a breakthrough and you think, "Oh, I haven't heard that before." And that's the thing, is some songs are a lot easier to do that. You can hear it twice and go, "Oh yeah, I've got that." This song, it's just beating you up, and then you're like, "Right, I need to go in for round 2 now." And at round 10, for me, you're just like, do you know what I mean? It starts to become a bit tiresome, because you still can't find it. But I am determined to say, you know what, actually, and when we do the album reaction, if I've listened to it enough and I change my mind, I'll happily say, you know what, I was wrong. I actually really like this song. And it doesn't stop the fact that I'm still very much looking forward to their album coming out.
Me too.
Very excited. Best thrash album of the 21st century. Bring it on. So yes, nothing has changed. I'm not coming out saying they're trash or anything. It's nothing about that. It's just I guess my own expectations were so high I was, I was already conditioned by what we heard from Cannibal Corpse, who produced such a good single that you hear another band releases a single, you think, oh, this, I've heard one good single, this is going to be another good one, and it's just not quite. It just doesn't have that edge, That's my fault. And that's what I'm trying to say, is this is all personal preference.
Yeah,
This is
absolutely.
absolutely nothing on, this is nothing on the band or thing. And
like, yeah, just to remind the listeners as well, like Ben and I aren't like, we haven't got a doctorate in heavy metal music. We're just both fans. We're trying to discover new music, new old music, which has existed for 30 years, which we haven't heard of. So this is all a listening process for us. So, what if you don't agree with us, that's completely fine. Again, it's absolutely just a personal preference and a platform, etc. So if you do disagree with us, please let us know. We'd love to know your opinions. Just, feel free to comment below. It'll be absolutely great to hear your opinions as well. So that's pretty much it, really, on the actual song itself. So, of course, we're both very excited. So it's April the 30th, 2021.
Let me make sure I've got that one right. It is April 30th. It is, April 30th. Cool. Yeah.
So it's in our diaries. So I'm really looking forward to hearing the new album, because it's a band I'm just discovering myself, and I'm absolutely looking forward to it. As are you, Papa Ben?
Yes, definitely.
So to all our listeners, diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you very much for your company as ever. And remember, no matter the podcast topic, whether it's whammy bars or weaning, napalm death or nappies, it's always good to talk. So for myself, Daddy Hugh.
And myself, Papa Ben, have a, good night, good evening, good morning, whatever time you watch this. We will see you in the next episode.
You sound like Jim Carrey from that movie. If I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. That's it. What's that from? The Truman Show. The Truman Show.
Yeah, that's it.
Classic. Ahead of its time. Anyway, back to the point. Nostar. Good night, you guys.
Bye.